Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All of you can join me in the prayer. I'm sure the mantras are given here, Shanti mantras. I think only Sahana Vavatu is given, but I'm sure all of you know the next one will be Purnamada. And then we will be chanting first mantra, first verse of the Dhyana Shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Okay? And of course, prayer to Sri Shankaracharya ji. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Now we shall be chanting the first and the last verse of Gita Dhyana Shloka. Okay. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Svayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandathami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshini. Now last verse. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanishadaihi Gayantiyam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yoginaha Yasyantam Navidusura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. So the first verse is addressed to Bhagavad Gita and the last one to Narayana, or Lord Krishna, from whom Bhagavad Gita has emerged. So that is the prayer. And now we shall begin our classes on this retreat. As you very well know, in this retreat, in this 9 to 10 class, and also in the afternoon 4:30 to 5:30, we shall be dwelling upon the verses, selected verses of chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 9 is right at the center of Bhagavad Gita, and it unravels the absolute truth, the transcendental reality, and also the immanent reality, which means, in other words, it talks about both the Paramarthik Satta as well as the Vyavaharik Satta, which means the truth, which is absolute in its nature, at the same time immanent. It is at the same time transcendental as well as immanent. Immanent means all-pervasive. So, as it were, the truth has, as it were, two aspects. One is transcendental, and the next level of the reality is that it is all-pervasive. Now, both this will be very well expounded in the 9th chapter. As I said, this 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is right in the center of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, as you all very well know, contains 18 chapters, and this is the 9th chapter. So, we will be looking into this. But before, and yes, very important, this chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita, all the chapters of Bhagavad Gita are given names by Lord Krishna. The name of the 9th chapter is Rajavidya Rajaguhya Yoga, which means it is the king among all the different branches of knowledge. Among all the different branches of knowledge, of Vidya, this is Rajavidya, king among all of them. As well as Rajaguhya. Rajaguhya means among all the secrets that prevail, this is the most secret. This is Rajaguhya, royal secret. Or in other words, the great secret. So before we enter into this royal secret, let us have a few words on Bhagavad Gita. And let us see the place that this chapter enjoys in the entire Bhagavad Gita. So, with respect to that, it will be deemed proper if we have few words on Bhagavad Gita. I am sure all of you, as I heard yesterday, some of you are coming for the first time, some second time, and most of you, many of you, are very well versed with Vedanta for the past many years. But all the same, I would like to say that the content of the Bhagavad Gita is something so magnetic. There is something so magnetic about this text or this divine song that it has always remained Nitya Nutana. Nitya Nutana means it is ever fresh. The appeal that it has will never go wrong, will never grow old. It will ever remain fresh. And the more we grow in our maturity, in our profundity, the more meanings it will yield to us. So that is the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. That as you grow in your maturity, as you grow in your understanding, in your perception, you will find that Bhagavad Gita gives more and more new meanings. Not that it is growing. We are growing, and that is why we discover new meanings in that. How long? Until each one of us, until we become Jivan Muktas. Jivan Muktas means liberated while living. We are living in this samsara, and yet Jivan Mukta means you are liberated, which means the vicissitudes of life, the challenges of life do not anymore bother you. You take it in your stride, whether it is happiness, unhappiness, or any turmoil will not bother you once you become Jivan Mukta, which means you are a man of knowledge. You very well abide in knowledge. And that is why life is just a play. And you are all fit and all well versed, all equipped to face it. So until we reach that stage, until we become Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna is the word coined by Lord Krishna himself in the second chapter, where he gives a long description about Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna, in other words, means man who abides very well in knowledge. His prajna, which means his knowledge, is steady, is ever steady, no matter what happens in life, no matter what life brings before him, but his knowledge remains stable, like a lighthouse in the midst of the ocean. And all the waves and storms and tsunamis, they may come and go. And yet, the lighthouse remains steady. Similarly, Sthita Prajna is one whose prajna, one whose knowledge remains steady. Until we reach that stage, we should continue to pursue Bhagavad Gita because it is needed. It will, as I said, it will continue to give us more and more exposure to knowledge. So even though one may think that I've gone through Bhagavad Gita many times, heard about it many times, and yet, if we do not abide in the knowledge, then we should continue to listen about it and go through it. Until a time comes when our ego drops. Our ego gets negated in the truth. And the knowledge that is imparted by Bhagavad Gita is such that a time should come when we become one with it. When we become one with it. And that will happen only and only when our ego, the false notion that today we entertain about ourselves, drops. And that will happen in the wake of knowledge, which Lord Krishna imparts in Bhagavad Gita. So, this is the status that Bhagavad Gita enjoys. The knowledge that it gives, is just unparalleled. There is no text in the entire scriptures, in the entire gamut of scriptures, which can be compared with Bhagavad Gita. Even though the source is Upanishads, the source of Bhagavad Gita is Upanishads, Vedas, but many times it appears as if Bhagavad Gita even surpasses Upanishads in certain aspects, purely because the source is one. The source from where Vedas have emerged. Vedas have Upanishads in them. Vedas have everything. Vedas have Karma Kanda also and Jnana Kanda also. Karma Kanda gives you instructions about actions, and Jnana Kanda talks about knowledge, the absolute truth. Vedas has both of this. Upanishads are found at the end of the Vedas. All the Upanishads in all the Vedas. And all the Vedas have Upanishads in them. Upanishads confine themselves purely to knowledge. Knowledge of the truth. Knowledge of the fundamental reality of the jiva, that is the individual self, as well as the jagat, that is the world, as well as Ishvara. What is the fundamental reality about all these three, which we take them to be different? Individual is one, jagat is another, Ishvara is another. No. Upanishads come along and tell us that the fundamental reality underlying all of this is just one. In fact, there is just one reality. Ekam eva advitiyam. There is nothing else other than that. So this is the main, and you are that. You are that. The seeker himself is the sought. This is the primary, this is the principal message of the Upanishads. And where are the Upanishads found? As I said, they are found in the Vedas. And what is the source of the Vedas? From where have the Vedas emerged? Where have they emerged from? From Apaurushaya, which means that in Brihadaranyaka it is said that nobody has written the Vedas. It is said very clearly, Asya mahato bhutasya nishvasitam yadetad Rugvedaha, Yajurvedaha, Samavedaha, Atharvavedaha. And the Upanishad there gives a long list of all that has emerged from Bhagavan. Asya mahato bhutasya, which means from Bhagavan, from Ishvara, has the Vedas emerged. And how have they emerged? Nishvasitam. Nishvasitam means like the out-breath of a person. When the breath goes out, when we exhale, no effort, unless we have some respiratory problems, the out-breath, there is no effort in bringing out the breath. It just comes out naturally. It's so spontaneously have the Vedas emerged from Ishvara, which means Vedas are nothing but Ishvara. Knowledge is not apart from Ishvara. So, what I'm trying to say is that this is Bhagavan himself is the source of the Vedas, is the source of the entire repository of knowledge. And it is from the same source. It is from the same source that Bhagavad Gita has emerged. So although Bhagavad Gita is known as Smriti Grantha, and Vedas are known as, what are they known as? Shruti. They are known as Shruti, which means it is heard by the rishis. They are prevalent in the creation. But rishis, the sages, because of their purity, because of the penance, because of the austerity and the purity that they command, they could grasp, understand, they could grasp the knowledge that is prevalent. I and you may not be able to grasp that, but sages could grasp. The knowledge is right there everywhere. There are sages who even now, they hear Omkara, they see mantras. So how come they are able to see? Precisely because they are pure. There is no trace of ego in them. They are one with the universe, one with the reality. So, what I am trying to say is that knowledge is emerged effortlessly from Bhagavan. And that is why, and sages heard about it, so it is called, this Vedas are called Shruti Grantha. And Bhagavad Gita comes in the category of Smriti Grantha. Smriti is something which is remembered by the sages and then given out to the posterity. That is called Smriti. Even though Bhagavad Gita is given the name of Smriti because Vedavyasji reported it to before us, but still, from where has Bhagavad Gita emerged? It came out effortlessly. Ya swayam padmanabhasya mukha padmad vinisruta. It is said in the Dhyana Shloka that right from Padmanabha, that is Lord Narayana, from him Gita just flew. Gita just emerged without even the volition, without even any kind of sankalpa of Lord Krishna or Narayana. Why? That we will see. Because his disciple, because his dear friend is in trouble. So in short, Bhagavad Gita has also emerged from the same source. But yet, it is observed that the content of the Bhagavad Gita in many ways surpasses even the Upanishads. Not because what Upanishads have to say is little less than what Gita has to say. No way. I'm not saying that. But as far as the applicability is concerned, Upanishads, the content of the Upanishads addressed to the seeker who is all ready, who is all equipped with viveka, vairagya, shamadhi shatka sampatti, sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, which means he's ready, he's all eligible. As I said, he has the discernment between right and wrong, between truth and untruth, between atma, anatma. All this he knows. Plus, he has vairagya, which means he already has that spirit of renunciation. In short, he is all ready. He may be dwelling in a forest. And so, generally speaking, we find that the knowledge of the Upanishads was given in the forest by sages to their disciples. But what about Gita? In Gita, the location is entirely different. It is not given to one who is all fit, who is all ready with viveka, vairagya, sadhana, chatushtaya, sampatti, and is by no means a sannyasi. It is given to one who is in the midst of life. Who is in the midst of life, right in the face of all kinds of challenges. It is given to Arjuna, who is standing right in the battlefield. And if it can be addressed to Arjuna, then Lord Krishna seems to say that knowledge is not confined to just one place. Knowledge is something which should be there in our day-to-day life. Our day-to-day life and the challenges and the circumstances which we come across should be properly viewed in the light of knowledge. Our life should be smeared with knowledge, and then you will have altogether a different perspective, different perception of life. Not that by this I'm not demeaning the seekers who are dwelling in the forest and learning the Upanishads. No, not that. But what Bhagavan has to say, what Lord Krishna has to say, is even applicable to the one who is standing in the battlefield. Imagine the place where this knowledge is given. Right in the din and the roar of all the weapons and the elephants, and all of them are shouting, arrows are being shot, they are about to be shot. You can imagine the kind of orientation that all the warriors were having standing in the battlefield. It is in that place, it is in that circumstances that Bhagavad Gita is imparted, which clearly says that there is absolutely no moment in life, no situation in life which can be bereft of knowledge, where knowledge will not have application. You understand what I'm saying? Knowledge is not something that you bring it into your life when you have retired, when all your responsibilities are over. That is also fine, but not necessary that you have to retire for it, that you have to go to the forest for it. No. What Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, and through Arjuna to the entire mankind. Arjuna represents all the human beings, and it is given to him in the battlefield. You can see very clearly that in the battlefield, on one side is Arjuna, who is all overwhelmed by sorrow. And right at that time, we see Lord Krishna, who is all composed, throughout his life. Why only in this battlefield? Never do we see, when we read his life, when we read about Krishna's life, never do we find a single moment when he was confused, or he was depressed, or he did not know what to do. Always the smile. You may argue that he is Bhagavan, so he was always composed. But Bhagavan is living the life, the same life which other ordinary people lived. Or I would rather say that his life was more tough than what our lives are. His life was by no means a bed of roses. There were challenges right from his childhood, right from his infancy rather. Moment he was born in the jail, in the prison. He was raised up by foster parents. And right from his childhood we see, one by one, all the asuras are coming, right and left. So, he handled it very well. Not because he was Bhagavan, but because what he said, what he knows, he brought it in life. Walk the talk. Walk the talk. That is what we find in Lord Krishna's life. So, and it is this knowledge that he imparts to Arjuna. We have to see this, that neither the speaker nor the listener is a sannyasi. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is not a sannyasi, nor is Arjuna, far from that. Although he wants to become, but never for a moment did Lord Krishna say, okay, you may go. Only at the end of it, when he is sure that Arjuna will do the right thing, then he said, do what yatechasi tatha kuru. Do whatever you want to do. And now Arjuna is all ready to fight. Which means that the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is just out of the world. And it is indispensable in life. I emphatically say that it is indispensable in life. If we want to make our life truly successful in the right terms of the word, in the literal terms of the word, if we want to make it successful, then there is no option but we expose ourselves to this knowledge. Without that, sooner or later, a time will come when you will be confused, just as we find in case of Arjuna. He cannot proceed, having come to the battlefield all enthused, all confident. And we all know this. As soon as he came, he ordered Lord Krishna, who has agreed to become his charioteer. He is the king of Dwarika. And yet, he agreed to become his charioteer, which means driver. And he ordered him that, oh Lord, oh Achyuta, place my chariot between the two armies so that I can have a clear-cut view of where all the big warriors are, and I can accordingly plan out my strategy. And as ordered by Arjuna, right at that time, Lord Krishna places the chariot. It is there that he perhaps played the trick. He placed Arjuna's chariot right in between the two armies, but where? The vantage point. What was that? From where Arjuna could directly see whom? Bhishma Pitamaha and Dronacharya, his two weaknesses. His weaknesses. Not weaknesses, but he was greatly attached naturally. Anyone would be. See, Arjuna is in each one of us. Arjuna resides in each one of us. It is our story. And we are attached to our people. At the same time, we have our duties to perform. There is call from this side, and my heart is here. Does it not happen in our lives? Every so often, we also come across the situations. We may take certain decisions, but we do not know what are the repercussions. Have I missed the bus, or have I caught it? We are not sure every time. And that is why we need the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. This is what happened to Arjuna. Having asked Lord Krishna to place the chariot, and Lord Krishna did it as he was ordered by Arjuna, and then the entire situation changed drastically. Now no more is Arjuna. There is a change, You can see the change in Arjuna. When he came, he was all confident and enthused and everything. He wants to avenge himself. He wants to avenge the Pandavas, all of them, for the injustice that is meted out to them by their cousins. It is all very clear. His perspective was very clear. But moment moha comes, moment asakti comes, attachment. He is there to perform his duty. Not that Arjuna didn't know what his duty was. He very well knew it. That this is my dharma. This is my duty as a warrior. I am Kshatriya. And this is the duty of the Kshatriya. This war is not to be fought for taking the kingdom. That was far away for Pandavas. It was the war of righteousness versus unrighteousness. It was the war between dharma and adharma. Pandavas were even ready to forgo their right. If Duryodhana was ready to give them 5 houses, but Duryodhana was adamant. He was ambitious, and he was nothing but he represented unrighteousness. And this was the fight, this was the war between dharma and adharma. And Arjuna very well knew that he stands for dharma. All the Pandavas were that. And yet, now his understanding is clouded. Is clouded so much so that, what did he say? Having looked at Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya, and now his vision has totally changed. What did he say at the end of it? That na yotsya iti govindam uktva tushnim babhuvaha. I will not fight. I won't fight. And he dropped his bow and arrow. And he's shivering. His mouth was pale. He has horripilations. All the symptoms of depressions were present in Arjuna. He was totally depressed. And in that state of mind, imagine Arjuna getting depressed. What brought about this condition? What brought about? No, he was not a coward. Far from that. But what made him weak? What? His moha, his attachment. Asakti. See, love is fine. Care is fine. Sharing is fine. All that is fine. But when there is attachment clouds your vision. And that is exactly what happened to Arjuna. Because of that attachment, he's not ready to carry out his duty. On one side, his attachment is pulling him. On the other side, his sense of duty is also pulling him. There is tug of war between these two. And that time, what won? Which emotion won? His attachment. And that is why he said, I'm not going to fight. And he tried to justify. He tried to justify his perception in every way, saying that this is going to be violent, and we are not supposed to be doing that. Hare, you cannot show this compassion for terrorists. What you have to do, what is to be done is to be done. But Arjuna could not do this. And now another very important thing happened. And what was that? In this critical condition, understand this very well. Sometimes, life pushes us to the wall. And the same thing happened with Arjuna. In this critical situation where he sees no way to go, at that time, all of a sudden, his thinking took a different flight. From this situation of war and his attachment and everything, his thinking took a different flight. And what was that? He, for the first time, was sort of forced, compelled to think about life. What is the meaning? See, from war is now aside. War definitely aroused that in him. The serious thinking about life. What is the meaning of life? What have I come here for? What brought about that? What brought about this situation? This situation of war and his resignation in that made him think. He was so depressed, so overwhelmed by sorrow that he started thinking about life. Sometimes, when somebody very close to us passes away, and for some time we are so overcome by grief that we also start thinking about what is death, what is life. Is everybody supposed to go like this? Is the death the end of life and things like that? Do we not? Tell me. It happens with all of us. Causes may be different, but Ishvara has this plan. He brings situations in life which compels you to think seriously. And it is a blessing in disguise. Understand? It is a blessing in disguise. And that is exactly what happened. So far, understand this. Arjuna was free to think of life in this manner. Was he not? Tell me. He was in the forest for 12 years. And that too last year was incognito. He had very good time to sit and dwell on the meaning of life, goal of life, and things like that. But did he do that? Did he do that? No. On the contrary, he spent his time on trying to get more and more knowledge about weaponry and things like that. How soon to take revenge upon this Kauravas. All the time his mind was there. And now having come to the battlefield, his thinking has changed. This is what life does. When you are pushed to the wall, and you are to a blind alley, you just can't think of anything else. And this happened. And he started thinking about, and he could see for the first time the limitations of all the achievements and accomplishments that life can give you. For the first time, he had leisure of mind sort of to think about, to dwell about, to weigh the pros and cons of the achievements which life brings before you. It definitely gives you some sensation, some high. But what is hidden, the flip side of it, what is it? That is ephemeral. That is limited, even though great in every way, but still it is limited in time, bound by place, and bound by manifold limitations. Is it not so? This is what Arjuna could see now. He was a very famous person, man of distinction. He had a lot of achievements, and still today he could see that I have not gained anything worthwhile in my life. Imagine such a valorous person, such a famous person. People were afraid of him. All the people who are standing in the battlefield are afraid of him. Such a man of accomplishment today realizes that he has not gained anything worthwhile in life. He has whiled away his time in achievements, in working for achievements which are just going to go away. And even if they are with you, very soon, they lose the kind of interest which you had for them in the beginning. Is it not right? Does it not happen with us? We work for something. We do get it. Having got it, the sensation, the high remains for some time. Yes, for a longer time also. But very soon, what do we have in our mind? What next? Now what next? Having gained that, worked for it, we do get it. Then again, what next? In this manner, this next thing is always there waiting for us. And in trying to gain them, we spend all our time and energies. It's a very big investment that we make after that. Time is precious. How much time do we have? Can anybody say? For guarantee, even the biggest of astrologer cannot say. Very limited time. And energies, how much? Nowadays, after 60 and even at 55, we begin to wither out. And the prime of life just goes in running after, chasing the material achievements. Name, fame, power, possession. Nothing wrong with them. I'm not criticizing. But a time should come in our lives when we see their limitations. Is this life, this human life, is it meant only for those things, ephemeral things? Life is precious. Human life. Jantunam narajanma durlabham. This life is not ordinary. It has been acquired after spending such an amount of meritorious deeds that we have got it. Having got it, we just while it away. How much sensible is that? This is what Arjuna could see. He has the leisure. He was forced to think about life in this way. And now what does he say? He tells to Bhagavan, Lord Krishna, that now he discovered that vairagya in him. That even if I get this kingdom, unrivaled kingdom, if it is given to me on platter, I don't see how the grief, how the inadequacy which is tearing me apart, how the emptiness which is there at the core is tearing me apart, And that emptiness is not going to go no matter what I gain. No matter what I gain, the echelons I attain in life, rise in life, no matter what I get. He goes to the extent of saying, not only this world, but even the kingdom of the other world also, the powers, the wealth, even of the other worlds if I acquire, I do not see how the emptiness and the vacuum that is there at the core will go away. Then what am I doing? What am I doing? This is what Arjuna discovered. And this is important. When you discover this, that is the blessed moment of life. That is the most auspicious and blessed moment of life, because it is from this discovery that there is a change in life. And that is exactly what happened to Arjuna in the battlefield. And then he also had the insight. What insight? He could see that he felt that now what I want is nothing less than the best. What I want now is nothing less than something that is absolutely, definitely good, which is not bound by time, not bound by space, not bound by any kind of limitations. That is what I want. His desire, his understanding is now very clear, crystal clear. And he expressed that before Lord Krishna. He very much said in so many words. What did he say? You remember? Yat shreya syat nishchitam tanme bruhi. Oh Lord Krishna, please talk to me about that which is nishchitam shreya. That which will result in definitely something good. Which will suffer no kind of which suffers no kind of limitations. Tell me about that. He forgot where he is standing. He forgot that he has come to fight. And he is asking something which is not applicable here in the battlefield. But he did ask. And the culmination, the climax is what? He surrendered before Lord Krishna, who was his charioteer, who was his dear friend so far. But he discovered his teacher, Guru, in his friend, in his charioteer. This also insight he got, that the person who is standing before me seems to know all this. All along, Arjuna knew, Pandavas knew very much what Lord Krishna was, but still, understand, so far that time had not come. Bhagavan is right before them, always close to them. Whenever they are in problem, he will just appear. That was the relationship which Pandavas had with Lord Krishna. And yet, Arjuna never asked him, "Oh Krishna, please tell me, what is moksha? Talk to me about that. Give me some knowledge." Why? Why did he not ask? Tell me. Why did he not ask? Because it did not occur to him. That desire was not there. It was not there. Even though this treasure of knowledge is right before him. It never occurred to him to ask this of him. Even when they were free in the forest, he never asked. But today, that desire has occurred. Understand, when that desire occurs, it is called in the technical language jnana. When this occurs, in this Bhagavan's universe, there is provision for it, no matter where you are. Arjuna is in the battlefield and he got it. Imagine, he found his teacher in his dear friend in the battlefield. In the battlefield he found it and he surrendered. What did he say? What did he say? Shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. I am your student. I am your disciple. Please teach me. Imagine. Imagine, the place is battlefield and he's asking of knowledge. Please teach me. And Lord Krishna could have said, you first fight. First finish this, what you have undertaken. And then we will talk afterwards we shall talk about it. Did he say that? Then Gita we would not have. We would not have had Gita. Had Lord Krishna said, we'll talk about it later. Forget it now. First fight. I have come here to help you, not to teach you. He could have very well said, but he did not. Why? Why? This is most important. When this desire occurs, Bhagavan addresses it. Bhagavan addresses it. Why? Because to have this desire, a desire to come out of this life of becoming samsara. Samsara is nothing but moving from one limited end to another limited end, which does not lead you to anywhere. It just perpetuates this life of becoming. And when a jiva expresses this desire, Bhagavan forgets everything. And the battlefield, Kurukshetra, became what? Lecture hall. Place of teaching. And without thinking, right there and there, Lord Krishna started teaching. So this is the beauty. And what did he teach? The teaching, in Swamiji's words, teaching began with a bang. It began with a bang, which means the truth of life is right away addressed. Because Lord Krishna could see that what is important is Arjuna and people like Arjuna, which means the rest of the mankind. Everybody is ignorant. Ignorant of not an ordinary thing. Ignorant of their very nature. What am I? Who am I? What is my true nature? That is what people at large are ignorant of. Imagine, what an irony. Today we want to know what is going on moon and sun and things like that. We send our satellites and things like that. But all the while, I don't know who I am. And merrily go with my life, taking myself to be a small individual, with a name, with ego, this, that, confined to a body, confined to a certain mind. Merrily go with life. One life like that, if it is lived like this, very obviously next life will also be like that. Then further, this is how the chakra, this is how the lives have gone by. And when one expresses the desire to come out of it, then do you think Bhagavan is going to wait? For him, that is important. Not this samsara which is mithya. We'll talk about it in the 9th chapter. It talks about that. But he started by imparting to Arjuna what his true nature is. And the true nature of not only Arjuna, but all of us. All the jivas, these other beings, other species, other than human beings, do not have the mind to understand them. But no matter whether they understand or not, the reality remains the same. What is that? That everybody but everybody is nothing but Atma, nothing but Brahman, and not this limited body. This is the outer costume This is the costume. Worn by whom? Worn by Atma. Worn by the true nature. And nobody knows about that. Very few, barring man of knowledge. Nobody knows. And that is the fundamental problem of life. That is the problem. And the solution lies in knowledge. Knowledge of who? First we have to know who I am. I don't know who I am, and then I try to teach you. And then I try to find out what is there and what is there. All the details and things like that. We spend our lives after that. All the while we carry the ignorance as to who I am. What a tragedy. There cannot be more tragic, nothing more tragic than that. Can it be? That you don't know who you are. And whole your life is built upon the foundation of ignorance, of wrong understanding as to who I am, who you are. When I don't know who I am, naturally, how will I know you? I look upon, understand this, I look upon myself as a limited individual, and I look upon you also as a limited individual. Everything is wrong. Naturally, we have problems in our relationships. We have problems galore. Because the very basic premise is wrong. Fundamental problem is there. And that is why it is very, very necessary that we know the truth about ourselves, about the world, about Ishvara, and that happens to be just one. Bhagavan taught about that to Arjuna. So, what he talks about, what he taught primarily, is nothing but the principal message of Upanishads. And what is that? Tattvamasi. That thou art. You are that who the one whom you are seeking in and through achievements, in and through name and fame and possession and power and relationships, in and through all of this which you are seeking is not there, is not outside of you. It is you yourself. It is you. The truth of what you are seeking is hidden right here. Who will ever imagine this? Who will ever stumble upon this knowledge? Tell me. Can anyone stumble upon this? And that is why this knowledge is called royal secret. Royal secret, not an ordinary one. We'll talk about that. But because this is the fundamental problem, as Swamiji says, the problem is you, the solution is you. Solution is you, but provided somebody points that out. On my own, I'm not going to know. I know what I'm seeking in life may be in myself. No, nobody can know that. It has to be pointed out. So you require a teacher. Somebody is required to tell you this. And that is why Lord Krishna began with that. He unraveled, he unfolded the knowledge of the self before Arjuna. Arjuna thought that all this will die. All these people will die. They are born at a certain time, and due to war they will be dying, which means he thinks that body is I. So Lord Krishna said, body is not you. Arjuna, you are not the body. You are Atma. You are Brahman. You are the Tattva, which is free from birth and death and all the other changes which occur between birth and death. All of them, birth, death, and in-between changes belong or apply to the body, not to the self. Plus, you are not the doer. You are not the enjoyer. You think that you will be killing and people will get killed. No. Atma, or the truth is not the doer, as well as it is not something on which something happens, nor does it do, neither does it do, nor anything can happen to it, because Atma is subtlest of the subtle. All this knowledge of the self is unfolded before Arjuna in the first set of 6 chapters. In short, Bhagavad Gita can roughly be divided into 3 sections. Which are they? Tattvam Asi. This Tattvam Asi, that thou art, contains of 3. It is called Mahavakya. Imagine, just consisting of 3 words, 3 padas. Tat, Tvam and Asi. Are how many words? Just 3. But it is called what? Mahavakya. It is not Mahavakya in terms of its in terms of its volume and things like that, but in terms of its meaning. What does it mean? That you are the whole. WHOLE. You are everything. You are the reality of this creation. You have the upper hand. So this 3 words is called Mahavakya because it shows the identity between what I am and what I am seeking. There is identity. I need not seek, provided I know. Understood? So, it is said that the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, it is called one Shatka. One group of 6 is called Shatkam. So, first 6 chapters talk about Tvampada, which means it unfolds my true nature. That thou art. You are that. So, first 6 chapters talk about who really I am. The next set of 6 chapters, beginning from 7 to 12. 7 to 12. First was 1 to 6. Next is 7 to 12. Unfolds the nature of Tatpada, which means Ishvara, which means that which you are trying to become. So, the chapters beginning from 7 to 12 talks about Ishvara, who is all pervasive and not away from me. He is the material cause, the efficient cause. He is the creator as well as the created. He is the creator as well as the created. This is unfolded in 7 to 12. And next, Shatka, group of 6 chapters, unfold the Asipada. Asipada means you are. Here and now, you are that reality. You don't have to become. You don't have to go towards it. You don't have to change. You don't have to modify. You don't have to adapt. Nothing. Right here and now, even at this time, you already are that. Imagine. What can be better? Can you improve upon this? Tell me. Can you improve upon this knowledge? When it is told that you are that, now what is to be done? Only thing that is required, accept it. Own it up. But that is where the difficulty lies. In spite of hammering this again and again, there is something in us which refuses to accept and own it up. No, I cannot be. All of you are Brahman, but I'm not. I cannot be. Because I know, intimately know, that I'm limited. I'm woman. I'm man. With so many problems. They just don't leave us. That means we are so tightly, densely identified with ignorance, with this body. The I is placed here. Where? Where? In the body. I place the I, the capital I, in the body. And so, I become of the size of the body. You are what you think yourself to be. Even though the reality is that you are all pervasive as well as transcendental. That will be the subject matter in the beginning of the 9th chapter. But we can't accept this. That shows lot of work is to be done. That shows that we have to prepare ourselves for this knowledge. This knowledge calls for preparation. Even though I am, but I can't accept. Why? Because I'm not prepared. My mind is not refined. My mind is not pure enough to accept this. So all of that is discussed. Besides unfolding the true nature of the self in the first 6 chapters, along with that, Bhagavan talks about Yoga Shastra, that is Karma Yoga. Then in the next 6 chapters, talking about Tatpada, and along with that talks about Bhakti. Bhakti also purifies. And last 6 chapters talks about you are Brahman. So in short, this is the way the entire Bhagavad Gita is divided. The prime message is nothing but that you are. But it is shown in such a way that without in the beginning running away from anything, be where you are and imbibe this. Be open to this knowledge. So, in short, with this background, with this much introduction, we shall now enter into, we are all ready to enter into the chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita, and we shall be dwelling upon the selected verses of Bhagavad Gita, which you have in your this booklet. So we'll be doing that in the next class. Thank you. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So, 11 o'clock will be Swamiji's class, then lunch, and then again at 4:30 will be Gita class. Okay, thank you.